Start again.
Okay, we're back.
I'm not sure where we left off, but I can react.
We solved the world's problems.
Okay,
They
good.
missed it.
Thanks
They
for
did.
coming.
I know it.
Thanks for coming.
That was good.
Hey, technology. That's
Yeah,
life.
technology. I believe we were talking about social
We
media
were.
and news outlets. I'm not sure how far to back up because I don't know where we were cut off. But
Just
generally speaking,
Yeah.
the daily news and the local radio stations work pretty well. The other, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's been beneficial for some other groups to pitch in on things. Other times it can be a challenge. I know when we had the slide that closed I-5 and
Oh, yeah.
agencies,
Right.
groups going on telling, oh, if you don't tell the sheriff you're not local, they'll let you through. So all of a sudden we had tons of people, and where the sheriffs are trying to be nice and we told local only and they could go through and they're trying to move traffic, all of a sudden they had to stop every car and it really slowed things down to check. So
Right.
it's tough when people get messages out that really isn't
Right.
controlled that way, but we live in a free society. We need to
Yeah.
get the information out. And usually,
Right.
the more information, the better.
Right. And do you have a Facebook page of your own from your department, or do you have a link or a site that people could go to for daily updates on
Cowlitz
things?
County Department of Public Works is our Facebook page. We don't get near the hits or followers of some of our other agencies. Cowlitz County's Department of Emergency Management is probably one of the top followed pages of
Yeah.
any government agency in the local area, for good cause. When an emergency happens, people want to have the latest and the real scoop, the real
Sure.
data that's accurate. So
Right.
they do a great job.
One of the
covering
things that bothers me kind of about what you'd said is a lot of times I'll see on Facebook where somebody will say, oh, law enforcement task force is staging at Baker's Corner. I wonder what they're doing. And what they shouldn't be,
No.
because so I think when people start commenting on traffic or flooding or something, really not knowing the details, that
Right.
could be a negative.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Has that happened before?
We have a number of instances like that. We've had people say, oh, they have a road closed sign on the lower end of Ostrander, but you can get through. Well, we have people drive through, and then somebody else drives into it, and all of a sudden their car's floating.
Yeah. There's a reason the road closed.
Yes.
There's a reason for it.
We take that very seriously. for our
Absolutely.
road closures.
We have to.
Our crews go above and beyond trying to reopen things as quickly as they can.
Oh, yeah.
We
Absolutely.
did learn from some of the Climb River slides, though, that we've changed policies for our road crews. If it's dark and raining, we're not going to be working on the slide until it's
Good.
daylight.
Right.
We can
Good.
see it. The safety of the crew is critical.
Oh,
Our crews
absolutely.
were willing to get in there and clean it for the people, but it's just, after talking to some geotechs, it's too risky for our.
Well, you got to think of the safety of the people, the first responders, and your crew.
Yeah, and they're
That's
trying to
very
get it open
important.
so the responders can get
Sure.
up the road, but
But-
you have to judge that against the safety of the crew. that
Exactly.
they're
And
working
safety
in.
always comes first. Absolutely.
Right. Do you think about, and I'm bringing this up because emergency response, 911 are a couple of the questions that I have. But in regards to emergency response, as we know in Hawaii recently, there was a mismanaged alert that went out, human error. Tell me about how you do things here in Cowlitz. How would you alert the community if there was a tornado or an earthquake?
Or any national disaster.
That's probably better directed toward emergency management, but they're confirming their sources before they send the information out.
Yeah.
For Public Works, being the communications person and monitoring our Facebook
Uh-huh.
account, I'm usually sharing the emergency information from them. Sometimes, obviously, we have more up-to-date information on road closures than they have.
Well, 'cause you're on
I'm
the scene.
Typically putting it, our people are there.
Right.
But I'm usually communicating with the comm center and Department of Emergency Management before I post anything. They may not get posted as quick, but they're aware of it before we release it to them.
That's good, because we can't assume that everybody has a laptop or that everybody
Has
has a
an
landline
internet.
phone.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
it was interesting that AT&T set out that alarm or alert on the phones, but my son has AT&T and didn't get it, but my daughter has AT&T and did.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's always, nothing's perfect,
No.
It's also unnerving to be in a room full of people that have those monitoring apps on their phone
Uh-huh.
at a training or something, and all of a sudden, 2/3 of the people in the room's phones go off.
Right.
It kind of gets your attention. Something
It
big
does.
just happened.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need to kind of go. And by the way, I thought it was silly with people carrying two phones. Now I carry two phones
Do
because
ya?
I have my county phone that I'm on
Yeah.
call 24/7.
Oh, wow.
But a good example of how that could work well is Amber Alert.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that works extremely well.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting that it waited so long to happen, but I'm glad that it did. So hopefully it could be utilized even more so with other emergencies through our phones.
What's really exciting are some of the earthquake monitoring services that they're working on and getting ready to release.
Really?
I don't know how much you've been following that, but if you think about
Actually, a
an
lot
earthquake,
because I was a Red Cross disaster volunteer for 28 years, so
Okay.
I follow that stuff a lot.
you know, you think of an earthquake and it happens and everybody shakes, but
Yeah.
in reality, it happens at a location and that shock wave goes out.
Right.
And media is much quicker than that, so they're getting these alert systems in place that monitor these, and as soon as something is detected, then they can send out a broad release. So
Oh,
you'll
nice.
know to be prepared. You might only have 30 seconds or a minute and a half or 2 minutes, but you have time to maybe get out of an unsafe structure or get yourself prepared for a
Right.
major earthquake that's occurring.
So that's a huge role that you have, just
Yeah, that's
communicating
exciting.
in general.
I have a small part of it, but communication is important.
Yes, and being the communications manager is very important. So,
Yes.
and so are you also the spokesperson for other county entities, offices, departments?
Just the Department of Public Works,
Okay.
and I'm happy to be that.
I bet. That's good. So we
Sometimes it gets a little bit hot in other areas.
Oh, I bet,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so I will not ask you this question, this question, this
Oh,
question,
yeah,
or that
yeah,
question
sure.
then. But I will ask you to talk a little bit about the 2018 Stormwater Project for high schoolers. It's the
The
PSA.
video contest that
Yes.
we're working on, that's really pretty exciting that we're, last year, to kind of back up again, kind of
Yeah,
go back
please.
and forth on this, but they had a contest for coloring books and they got school children to do their own artwork and then others do some poems about the stormwater issues.
Oh, wow.
This year it's video based,
Right.
get some PSAs and
That's
that's
so neat.
That
It's
is-
30 seconds. It's 9th
Yeah.
to 12th grade. They have 30 seconds to
Right.
do this video. And it's a $500 Amazon gift card for first, $250 for second, and $150 for third.
you got
Wow.
homework because you know that better than I do.
Yeah.
I was
have
gonna
to
say.
look at my
I wish I was
material
in
to
ninth
try-
grade. I do it. But what a great
Aren't we?
incentive, though. Yeah, that's right. We are in ninth grade. But what an incentive, because really in your role or for the county, it's about our community and our future and kind of educating the youth. So this project, I think, is great because it's about our community, it's about the stormwater topic as well as video. And we know that kids are so into technology.
Oh, yeah.
making videos.
One of the exciting things is you were talking about communication, how you build those between agencies.
Uh-huh.
The whole stormwater thing is interagency. Cowlitz Clean Waters is City of Longview, City of Kelso. I know Kelso School District, I'm pretty sure Longview School District, Port of Longview, Cowlitz County,
Wow.
all working together on stormwater and
That's
stormwater
exciting.
education, so.
That is.
That's exciting.
And I do think that there's also other opportunities for these high school kids or college kids to take on these projects that impact. So I know that in the past, when I was on the advisory, there was a lot of students that we would pull in to help and kind of be spokespeople out there. We know that Spencer Boudreau, I think he's a senior in high school this year graduating, so he's kind of very outspoken about certain things. But I do hope that more kids get into what's happening in their community and be a part of the solution.
Yes, instead of the problem.
Yeah, do you feel like you're seeing more programs from the county or let's say in the Public Works Department that maybe in the future they could be more involved with?
I can't say I've seen a lot of that yet. I'm kind of excited for the future of how things are going in Public Works overall. The American Public Works Association has been working at trying to get more communication out. And, you know, even before I went to the county and started working in Public Works, you're kind of wondering, okay, who's Public Works? What do they do? You don't really
Yeah.
realize it's the whole infrastructure of utilities and transportation and everything that's
Oh,
covered.
yeah.
So
okay. Wow.
I'm excited that the national group and the state group are starting, and that's going to start trickling down to some of that. And we're working better at outreach. We never used to do parades. Now we take our
Sure.
equipment to parades and get the message out. We have some career days that we have staff go man
Oh, nice.
places at career days and we get some good equipment out, like stream machines that City Longview Parks and Rec does.
Yes.
We participate on that. So
That's
it's
awesome.
exciting to get
I've
more.
noticed that. I've noticed that the county has been more involved with those things. I have seen you in the parade and collaborating with the Parks and Rec and the city. And I think when people see that everybody's working together, the more apt they are to do their part. I know that last year there was a tremendous amount of volunteers just in the law enforcement, emergency response. I think Mark Nelson had mentioned there was, in 2017, like over $524,000 worth of volunteer hours
Yeah.
given last year.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting how he tracks that with the different people that run drones and their ham radio operators and
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah.
search and rescue and all the volunteer hours. He tracks all that and
Yeah.
computes that.
Yeah, so that's a lot, over $500,000. So we do hope that people continue to volunteer in the county and maybe public work opportunities. I don't know what
I
those would
think it's
be.
really important for the youth to understand there are a lot of non-college type jobs that still pay well and are in high demand.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of fun, you were talking about the youth outreach. We had a couple of people go down to Kalama the year before, and one of them down there was a heavy equipment operator that she is operating big pieces of equipment. So some of the girls in
Great.
high school were stunned that here's this woman out there running big heavy equipment. But
That's
there are
awesome.
a number of opportunities that
Good.
people can get into that really are pretty high paying jobs.
Good. Well, we do hope that that things increase. I know it would make your job easier if the housing market and other things were doing better. But I hope to think that we are on a road of getting things maybe back in order or better. And a lot of that has to do with maybe not your department, but I think just with the county leadership too. As we move forward, we always hope that if there's somebody new in place, that they're going to come up with fresh eyes,
Right.
good ideas, and implement those, just as the city. So we hope that. We hope that. And I'm sure when you came into your job 5 years ago, you had fresh eyes so you could see things clearly and implement new things or better ways of doing things.
And sometimes old eyes are handy too, because you have that experience and
That's
background
true.
that you're able to apply.
But you can get the experience for the guys that work for your department that have been there 15, 20 years
Yeah.
and know,
It's
what's
kind of a nice
going on.
mix of, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, I'd like to say a quote to you, and you tell me where it's from, okay?
Oh, she's done her
Oh,
homework, let me
great.
tell you. She's done her homework,
See,
let
I'm
me
a
tell
quote,
you.
now she's gonna catch
oh,
me
yeah.
on the spot.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's why we brought Clay in today. Yeah.
Okay, only by giving are you able to receive. This happens to be the quote and saying for an amazing organization that Mark is involved with, which is Pioneer Lions, correct?
I would have guessed Melvin Jones for a quote of that, but
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. But I know it's a kind of a Lions
Yes, it is.
team.
Yes, it
As
is.
you know, I've been active in Lions for a long time, 31 years now.
Are
That's
you a
awesome.
past district governor?
I am a past district governor.
Okay,
Man.
that's what I thought. So explain
This
what.
is awesome for me.
Explain.
You're going, and what's a past district governor?
No, I know what it is.
Explain what that is, and then I'm gonna ask you about a couple of projects I know that your group has done. Get your
Okay.
feedback.
Well, Longview Pioneer Lions are one of the largest service clubs in the area. We're around 155 members, something along those lines. About 10 years ago, we were the 8th largest Lions club in the United States.
Wow.
We were up over 200 members at one time. We've since fallen back, but a lot of community groups are
Sure.
into that. You go beyond the club level, you get to the zone level, which in our area is kind of the county, Cowlitz and Wahkiakum County. You go beyond that to district governor layer. Our district is Southwest Washington. So we have clubs up in Clearwater, Claylalock, which is about 18 miles south of Forks, Washington. Clearwater
Okay.
Peninsula.
Yeah, way up
All the
there.
way out to Lyle and Stevenson out the gorge. So it's not a
Wow,
small
that's
district.
a huge district.
But you get up to some of the eastern districts where our District D, we're in 19G. 19D, and I don't want to bore your audience, but it goes from central Washington up through central British Columbia. It's
Wow.
an enormous district. Those poor governors up there drive 1,000 miles from one end to the other. So I don't feel so
Yeah.
bad. But anyway, 10 years ago, right now, I was governor for our district in 19G. It was a great experience, really enjoyed it, had the opportunity to use we have a foundation in the Lions Clubs International Foundation. And when they had all the flooding up in the Boisfort and Adden area, I was able to apply for a grant. And one of the things that I was really impressed with is 20 minutes after I applied for this grant, I had $10,000 to put in a checking account and start
Wow.
helping people
Within
in our
20
district.
minutes?
20
Yeah.
minutes.
That's amazing. That
It's
is
set up,
amazing.
there's no, one of the reasons they're one of the highest rated charities is because we have very little overhead. They're mostly volunteers doing
Yep.
Sure.
things. And when they do grants in the local areas, like when they're doing, whether it's Mexico and earthquakes, or Louisiana and hurricanes, or whatever, the local Lions requested they get the funds. They're directing it because they're already community-oriented people. They know
Sure.
where the funds can go, so.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
It was
Big
pretty exciting year to
congratulations.
be, it's not happy to have a disaster, but it really
No.
opened
No,
my eyes
but
at how
let's be
quickly
honest.
Lions can
Yeah.
respond to that.
Well, I know some Pioneer Lions, and
Yep.
it is an amazing group. Four events you do that I absolutely love, and I'm not saying this one first because I necessarily love it the most, but I do attend it every year, and that's the Beer Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
The Spirits of Longview.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
The Spirits of Longview.
More politically correct.
That is
But
correct.
officer, I with the Spirits of Longview, trust me. I try to help our community, officer.
Yeah,
Greg
that-
Swanson's our current chair, does
Okay.
a great job of that event.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
expanded it over to the Expo Center to where
I
we
know.
can have live music inside, and it's a fun event.
Some of us it's the Civic Circle, though. It's just old
Yeah,
school.
you know,
Yeah,
we-
that was
I
fun.
mean, it was old school.
the bands,
The bands in the different corners. Mhm.
But this
Times
allows,
change.
I think, more people, and I will say that I think that anytime I've gone, everyone's been pretty respectful. It's not like
absolutely.
some, so I think that Pioneer Lions set the tone of it's a community celebration, and always great bands play.
Yep.
But they do a good job kind of patrolling everybody too.
We patrol it pretty well. We keep the hours controlled so that we stop selling any tokens. You have to have a token to
Yep.
buy the beer. So you stop selling the tokens at 10. You can't exchange them for anything by at 10:30, and they have to be out of there at 11. So it's
Yep.
early enough that we kind of cycle through. Adding the band has brought in more of my generation back to it.
Yeah.
So that kind of changes the mix of people as well. It was getting a little too rowdy when it was just young people coming
Right.
in to
Right.
Yeah, it's
drink cheap
definitely
beer,
a
so
mix.
we
I might have a
changed it
token
back,
from
so.
last year that I didn't.
I still have tokens I find in drawers. We moved a year and a half ago to downsize, and I think I found about 10 tokens. from-
Hey, you're ready for next year? Then ready for this year?
I
Then
guess I'm covered for a
you
while.
got
Is
it.
that July 3rd?
It's almost always July 3rd.
Okay.
There are sometimes we try to avoid a Sunday, so if July 4th is on a Monday, then out of respect, we usually move it
Saturday.
to July 2nd to
Oh,
have
okay.
it that way. Otherwise, it's pretty much always on July 3rd.
Okay. And what about Walk and Knock?
That's my favorite one.
I know it is. So tell us about that. I think it's wonderful
I do
and it's
too.
amazing.
It is.
The exciting part about this is the concept for Walk and Knock came from a couple Lions in our club, Longview Pioneer Lions. Started
Oh, wow.
the whole concept before it was in anywhere else. And we tried to do it originally by borrowing shopping carts and going through the St. Helens Highlands neighborhood and
Mhm.
knocking on doors. And it was successful, but we almost gave it up because it's so overwhelming. There's no way to be able to pull it off, even in a large club, to have enough volunteers to do this. Well, there was a Lion down in Vancouver by the name of Bud Passmore. He actually ended up being a past international director, served on the International Association of Lions
Wow.
Directors. Said, you have a great concept, you just need more people, and why not have other service-oriented people? So he reached out in Clark County is where it really took off big, because they reached out to Rotary and Kiwanis and Altrusa and the Scouts and Ham Radio, and
That's awesome.
we ended up copying what they did up here to make it what it is today, back when Frank Kurloff was still around.
Yes.
He took charge of that. And now the first Saturday in every December, get
That's
your
right.
food ready.
Get your food
We'll
ready.
be here knocking
Write it-
on your door.
write it on
Saturday
your
in December.
calendar.
And we cover most of Cowlitz County.
Wow.
And then you have a
Yeah,
lot
so-
of groups that help volunteer. Do the Boy Scouts still help quite a bit? with
Boy
Walk and
Scouts
Knock?
still help. The Troop and Pack 702 is the one that we sponsored, so we usually get them to help us in the Mid Valley area.
Good job, 702.
Yeah, and there's different other scout groups in other areas that cover for those. We have some of the local high school students that are trying to get hours that volunteer.
I think I've seen some athletes, some
Yeah.
maybe football players or
Yep.
something, driving around and picking them up.
Yep.
And I think Alona Kirby with CAP does a really big part of it, and then they store.
CAP coordinates a lot of this
Yeah.
anymore, and that's where, of course, the food goes, is into their basement, and it's distributed to the local food banks from there.
It's
What a
awesome.
phenomenal service project. It's really what gave me the heart of being a Lion, because that was going 30
The
years
heart
ago.
of a lion.
I like
You hear
that. I like that.
That
The
was
heart
good.
of life.
What I mean by that is you go out to a house that you think you should be bringing them food because, it's not the biggest place, and you knock on the door and you almost feel guilty asking them what you're doing. And they're, oh, I've been helped by you guys again, and they go get food, and it just,
Oh, wow, that got me.
I'll tell you,
That got me.
it touches you. It
That
gets
one
you
got-
to the
yeah.
point that you don't want to give up that
No,
project.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just such an amazing thing to
Oh,
see
man,
people
I
give
bet.
back. But
that's awesome.
And then the bags are delivered through the postal carriers, correct?
no, we actually put bags in the Daily News.
Oh, okay.
And then we've been kicking around some ideas, and I don't know what they're going to try this year because we're not getting the distribution we had
Sure.
before. But
Well, I don't get the Daily News, so I wouldn't get a bag,
that's
so if I.
part of the issue is it's
Okay.
dropped off a lot, the circulation, so we don't
Sure.
have as much
I
papers
wonder if there
getting
could be
out.
some locations just where people could grab it.
Grab a bag and,
We went down year before last and looked at what Clark County does, because they're just doing huge, but they get several of the grocery stores going together and actually have printed bags that they can
Oh.
hand
Oh,
out
wow.
at the grocery store, so
So
that's
that
very
they could
helpful. So-
use, they take it home, they empty out their own groceries,
And
and
then
then they
they
could
can
put
put
some
in-
in. That's
or
a
they
great
can
idea.
Select that bag to fill food.
that's awesome.
There's other ideas that we might steal in the future. We're
Borrow.
borrow.
Yeah, you don't
That's right.
steal stuff,
Implement.
you
We steal.
borrow. Okay,
Borrow
you
and
steal it.
implement.
Let's be honest
Blame
here.
Tom Gunn. He's Rotarian. He's
I know Tom Gunn.
Oh,
Tom Gunn and Greg Further,
Yeah.
the county chairs.
Greg.
yes, I used
I
to
like
be an
Greg.
early morning Rotary.
Yeah,
and
you
Tom
did.
was- Yeah. But
Great
there's
guy.
a lot of great groups
Good
in
guy.
this town, and I also really appreciate the love and work that you all put into the Christmas lights at the lake.
Oh,
Another
amazing.
favorite service project, because there's no fundraising involved. We just go out and decorate the heck out of that island, and
And we wait for it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Is there
Oh,
a certain
absolutely.
day that it's done by, or is it a surprise, and then one day we just drive
Well,
by?
isn't it
and
like
see-
after the parade?
well, there was I have a lot of history from Lions Island.
That's
so-
cool. That's cool. We like that.
Our club approached the city at one time back in the 60s to see if they could develop the island. They didn't really have big plans for it, so they just cut down a bunch of weeds and they started planting some nice plants, and somebody threw up a couple of Christmas lights, which was popular. Well, then, in the early years, they used to have to take a boat across.
Right,
So we had to
there
build the first path across, the bridge
Yeah.
across, and it's since
So
been
Lions did
improved.
that.
Our
That's why
Lions-
that's why the lions
Thank
are at
you.
the entrance.
Yeah,
Hence the Lions.
Just saying.
Lions Island.
Just
yeah.
saying. Just saying.
Anyway, over the
It could
years,
have been Mark Morris.
Oh, I
Waters, you
love
know,
you.
but-
That's awesome.
we kept improving electrical system, and Ernie Kuntz was a
Oh.
longtime
Yeah.
member of our club.
Yeah.
Loved money.
Ernie
to
was
the
my
city.
neighbor. Oh, incredible
what an
man.
Amazing person.
Well, the lights around the lake
Yes, the,
are
well,
the Ernie
the main
Kuntz
path.
The main pathway they
main
have the
pathway
lights
lights,
on.
the
There's
people
Ernie
see the
Kuntz.
street lights.
Yeah, incredible man.
Incredible person.
Yeah.
So we were able to decorate that. My
So can
father
you
was
keep it-
actually chairman of that committee for 3 or 4 years, so I got to have one of the keys when he couldn't turn lights on or off, and it was
Ooh.
really fun to be the person walking out there, going to the box and turning
Turning it
everything
on.
That'd be
on.
awesome.
Now it's on timers, I think, that they
Oh.
flip. But that was really cool to be out there,
bet.
except
I bet.
on those really wet, rainy days, and those old
Longview?
panels, and you're
In
kind of
Longview?
reaching in and hoping to,
In Longview?
yeah, hoping you're not going to electrocute yourself as you're flipping these breakers out. But
But it's amazing. I like I said, I look forward to
Oh.
it every year.
Yeah,
it's just so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love it. Okay.
We're gonna have a little game.
I have a song.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm going to play you a song.
You
Tell
gotta name
me-
the tune.
Name that tune. You ready?
Take 5, Gabe Brubeck.
That is right.
Very good.
So this is the song Take 5, and when I listen to it, I think about something fun and less stress. So you talked about retirement. So let's talk
That's
about
how you're
that.
saying it.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
thought you were
Yeah.
going off my music passion,
No,
and now
no.
you're going to go off.
Oh, there'll be more. You're not done yet. You're not done
That's
yet.
just one.
That's just one.
So tell us about what your thoughts are, and I know you're way too young to retire.
My wife recently had her second knee replacement. It was a partial knee replacement. But caregiving is a challenge, and you see the mobility limitations that you develop
Right.
when you get older. So it started making me think recently that, okay, I need to have a retirement plan. I originally kind of was thinking more like my father. He was still working in his 80s. He just kept going. My Uncle M, that did all the senior care facilities, is kind of the same way. They just kept going and going and going. That's what
Wow.
they did.
Right.
So I wasn't really, that's right, you have that connection. I wasn't really thinking of a particular time to retire or retire soon, but it's made me think
Well,
a
tell them
little
what
bit
you
more
put
of
on
it.
Facebook.
I can't remember my exact thing, but basically, I
Play this.
I want to
That's
have.
funny you said that,
I
'cause
want to do
know.
I want to develop a plan. I want to know what
Yeah.
I want to
Absolutely.
do and retire to something. I don't want to just retire and not
Right.
do anything. I want to know what I want to do. I know that I like to volunteer, so I have to be very careful with that because otherwise I'll say yes to everything and pretty soon
You
I'll be
would, and
Yeah.
I
married.
know
So
you.
I need to have
You would.
Yeah.
a better plan of what I want to do when I
I thoroughly enjoy it. You should try it. I should have retired earlier.
Most
But-
people I talk to say
Yeah.
that same thing.
It's
that
great.
whether
It's
you
great
do
life.
and
I'm enjoying it.
I've seen
Candace
Yeah.
just retired.
Candace just
so-
retired. I've been retired a couple
seen
of years.
too many
yeah.
people that waited too long.
Yeah.
I've had good friends that passed away of cancer. I've
Yeah.
had friends who lost a spouse
Waited too
to
long.
cancer. They
Yeah.
waited too long. And
Yeah,
Now, you never promise the next day, so you just don't know what you
Right.
want to do. And
so true.
I want to travel, but it takes money to travel, so you kind of have to work to
I
have
know.
the money to
It's a
travel.
weird balance. Work,
It is.
money, retire, travel, need money. So unless you are, I'll never retire probably. I mean, I'll have to work till I'm,
You know,
100.
I don't have I don't have a plan. I think kind of my dream would be to get involved in a particular nonprofit so that you could work maybe
Yes.
half-time, but have the flexibility to take a month and go someplace
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal world. I
Right.
don't know if that's ever gonna
Well,
work
we're-
out that way, but
Yeah, just quit being retired. There are volunteer things I wanted to do that now I can do. Yeah, it's interesting being retired. It's interesting.
it was eye-opening to me to take the county job because I didn't realize how much community service had crept into my professional life.
Oh, yeah.
Being self-employed, I could change my schedule, and I realized I was spending about 20 hours a week on community stuff.
I've seen
Wow.
you at most of them.
But, yeah, I was very active in the chamber years ago.
I know.
but What yes.
I have another song for you.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Wanna hear it?
Song number 2.
I love music, so sure.
Song number 2.
All right, this is song number 2.
Did I say that I
Oh, that's Willie's version of what, Breathe?
That is interesting that you said that. This is called Willie Nelson's Just Breathe.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So he talks about in this song about people that he loves, and you had touched on your wife, and I know her, and she's wonderful. Tell us about your kids.
I have 2 wonderful kids, 2 wonderful son-in-law, daughter-in-laws, and sets of grandkids. They're great people. They're doing quite well.
Are they local or are they?
We're fortunate. Both of them are local. My son
wow.
lives in rural Longview, just backside of Columbia Heights, and our daughter lives in Kalama.
Isn't that nice that they're close?
Yeah,
Mine
mine-
aren't so
which-
close.
mine
but-
either.
All
Yeah,
five
yeah.
grandkids are close too, and that's
Oh, see,
that's
that-
pretty special to be
I
able
have 2
to.
of them, but they're in
Yeah,
Arizona.
so-
It's-
You do realize that's not a Willie Nelson song, though. It's a Pearl
No.
Jam song.
I know
Yes,
that.
okay.
Yes.
I know
Or an
that.
Eddie Vedder, I think.
It's Eddie
solo,
Vedder
but-
song, yeah.
I do like the Pearl Jam Eddie Vedder version.
Yeah.
But Willie, there's something about Willie.
Willie's a
Oh, yeah,
classic.
His voice. And,
It's a classic.
It
yes.
is. Okay, ready for the next one?
Probably not, but go for it.
No, you're gonna like this one.
Isn't this fun?
I saw this guy in concert.
He did.
In like 1981.
Oh, I know who you're talking
Okay,
Oh.
ready? Well, I should say this is the daughter. She was there too, though.
poor boy came from the farm?
That was it.
Yes, it is.
Still one of the deaths.
Yep, this is one of Johnny Cash's songs from the Forever Words CD.
Oh, where they took his poems and made their.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's
I
some
love
great
it.
cuts on that album, by the way.
Yeah,
Album.
yeah. This is
When's
called
the
the
last time an
Captain.
album was made? I know,
That's
but
true.
you can tell it's our, I know, but you can
We
tell
know
it's
what
our,
we're talking about,
you can
but
tell
it's-
it's our generation. We say, oh, the album.
Most of the younger people, they're thinking about a song that they
Yeah.
download as opposed to a collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're-
Right. That song is called The Captain's Daughter.
Yep.
And so he talks a lot, or she sings about her father and his response and comments. So you touched a little bit about your dad. And if you could touch just a little bit about Emmett also, and I also know that they have the 60th anniversary coming up. So if you want to touch on just your
Kind of
family background.
Well, you know, because I grew up with your sister
I do.
way back in St. Rose
I
days,
know.
Oh.
grade school days. We go
We're
back.
all
Okay.
St. Rose.
We're all St. Rose.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
that's
still
right,
have
St.
scars.
Jean's from yes.
Yeah, I still have
yes.
scars from the rulers.
I don't have scars.
Nightmares,
but I,
maybe.
I still think about my knuckles
Mhm.
sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Think I'm
Somebody
fine.
brings out a ruler, I kind of.
Well, years ago, when I I grew up in a real estate family, and years ago when I was active in the community, people would ask, "Are you related to Morris?" which is my father. Then, of course, he had bankruptcy after he built up a pretty good real estate development business, and of course, Mount St. Helens erupted, and the economy went
The
south.
year we
and-
graduated.
Where we graduated,
and
yeah.
those challenges. So in later years, people didn't think of him so much. They were asked if I was related to Emmett. So I usually say, well, yeah, but I'm the poor side of the family. They were very successful. And you pointed out, 60th anniversary is coming up.
Yes.
We
That's
celebrated
awesome.
over at Delaware Plaza. I can't go without saying a story. You talked about Dad's bankruptcy reminded me of something that I thought was quite profound. It seemed to bother a lot of us more than it ever seemed to bother him. And I asked him one day, "Did it ever really bother you?" And I'll never forget, he told me, if you have a roof over your head, clothes on your body, and food to eat, you don't need anything else. Everything beyond that is a game. The only thing that ticked him off, he was ahead of his brother Emmett until that happened, and now he was behind and he'd never catch up. So it was
That
just a
is
game
true,
between
though.
the two of them. It meant nothing else. And
Wow.
he was a lot like
That's
people
neat.
that would know Emmett as well. They were both very earthy people. You would never know that there was never any pretensions with them. They just, in fact, I got a
They're
kick
real.
out of the phone. It rang at 5 o'clock in the morning when I was growing up as a kid, and I'm going, who the heck is calling at 5 o'clock in the morning? It was always Uncle M calling Dad for advice on something.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
That's a compliment.
That
But
is.
it
That's
is,
a big
but-
compliment.
Dad was the detail person, and many people probably know now, but that's what he ended up doing after he closed up his real estate business. He went to work for my uncle doing all the bookkeeping and accounting and stuff.
Oh, he
for him.
did?
He did that for, well, until he was in his 80s and
Wow.
couldn't do it
That's
anymore.
incredible.
Well, and in the Kelch family, you included, has done a lot for our community. I
Absolutely.
mean, and you have that name. And I've been at a lot of events when people have came up and asked, hey, when are you opening up the garden? And you'd say, well, that's the other, but. So
I'm
you
very
did
proud
your
of my
best.
cousins and my
You
uncle.
did.
They do a phenomenal job
That's
with the senior
great.
care facilities. They're very high-end facilities. Most people are not aware that it's really just kind of a tip of an iceberg in Longview. It started here, but most of the cousins have gone off and have facilities all over, which is exciting
wow.
to see.
Oh, I think Clay's queuing up a song.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's
okay.
okay. We're
Okay,
just
I
watching.
am. This one I love. If I had a good voice, I would absolutely sing the song. But I don't have a good voice. But
It's like Bonnie.
Yeah, it is.
oh yeah, can I just play the beginning? Okay, I gotta play the beginning.
I was in a cover.
I love this
That's a
song.
great
I was in
song.
the mood for covers the other day, and when that came up, I go, oh, I got to hear this cover. You know, it's-
Yeah,
Oh, it's Bonnie Raitt and Lowell George
yeah,
singing "Can't Go Back Home."
Can't find my way back home.
yeah.
Yes.
Can,
The old blind faith.
Yeah.
If you've not heard it,
Wow.
I need you to listen to it because it's
It's awesome.
a really, really great song.
Yeah, definitely look it up. It
There's,
is a great
if you
song.
like the song, there's an
do.
excellent version of Clapton and Steve Winwood doing a live version of that. It's amazing, absolutely
Really?
amazing. But it was fun to hear Bonnie and Lowell
Oh,
Yeah,
because at the beginning of
and
this
Freebo. I
particular
don't know if you know
clip,
Freebo, but
Yeah.
at the beginning of this clip, he's tuning his guitar. Lowell
Yeah.
is tuning, and she's nervous, and you can hear it in her voice how nervous she is that he's set in on this set that they're having.
oh, yeah.
But it's a beautiful song. So when you think about that, like about, can't find their way back home, when you think about your job in Cowlitz County, what do you foresee us going forward or backwards? I mean, what would you like for the Public Works Department to focus on in this next year in a positive direction?
I would step that a bit farther. I would hope, long term, that we are given the funds that we can rebuild the infrastructure that we need. I'm a little bit concerned about the future because we have a lot of culverts to replace. We have aging bridges.
Right.
We do a pretty good job with our funding on roads. In fact, that's one thing that's been fun working for Cowlitz County Public Works is people will call and complain about a road and it's, no, that's the city of such and such.
Yes.
That's the city of
No,
such. Not our road, sorry. And there are places in the county you can be driving along and all of a sudden you can feel the difference as
Oh,
you're
yeah,
as you're driving.
absolutely.
And it's really a matter of commitment. Cowlitz County's had the funds to be able to do that in the past, and I would hope that moving forward we can do that. But there's some aging infrastructure needs on bridges and culverts in particular that really need to be.
I mean, there's always going to be a list, it's
Yeah.
never going to be empty. Because as soon as you get through this list, there's going to be other things adding. But I'm sure you guys do that process of when you do your budget or annual budget of what is most important and that could cause harm to health or.
And there's a whole
possession.
process to prioritize all that. That's kind of above me, that's in other engineers in our department that are doing that are figuring out that prioritization. But the big thing is just being able to have that commitment. It's too easy to just say, okay, well, we need to keep these people, we don't want to make these tough decisions, so we're going to pull money from infrastructure. And it's penny wise, pound foolish. It
That's
it
right.
helps you in the
Absolutely.
short term, it does not help you in the long term. And
Yes.
some of our people figured out it's between 17 and 20 times as expensive later. So if the monies you're not spending now, if you're not spending
Right.
that $1 million here, you're going to have to spend 17 or 20 million down the road.
Right,
It's-
right.
Right.
That's scary when that starts happening on an annual basis.
And I think at one time, they really were trying to, on the Hill in Olympia, they were trying to cut back on funding for roads and, infrastructure. I drove truck for Lakeside for 10 years, and it was scary for us because we didn't know, are we gonna have jobs?
Yeah, and that's a business that depends heavily on road construction, obviously.
Very much.
With Lakeside, that's.
Yes, yeah, so, it's important that we continue that. It always made me nervous to think, are we adopting what King County, the power of King County or Pierce County vote on? Do we just accept, what trickles down to us? And I hope that's incorrect.
It's
Is
difficult
it?
politically because you have that huge metropolitan area, they have a whole different view of things. And the rest of the state is about 45% of the population. We don't have a lot of say in some of that.
So what projects are coming up? Like what's on so if I was to say, give me a list of your 2 things that you're working on primarily right now, projects.
We have a lot of small projects that we're working on for this summer. We have some other larger ones like Delameter Road. There's about a 1.5 mile section of Delameter that's coming up in the pipeline.
Oh, wow.
But small projects, there was a slide area out in Rose Valley. They're going to be working on that. There's a small one up on Bodine Road. There's a small one up on West Side Highway. A lot of these take time. Most of these are from the 2015 storm.
Oh, yeah,
To
yes.
get through all the processes and get them approved, because most of these require matching funds and
Right.
federal funds, and you've got to go through a whole process. The good news on that, some of these might be 80 or 85% matches, so the locals are not.
That's
That's
good.
nice. That's
Put up as
nice.
much, but it
Yeah.
takes a while going through that. We have an issue up on Storm Road, you probably aren't necessarily familiar with that, that's up in the Tootle area where the river had cut into the bank and trying to figure out a way to relocate the road, so it looks like we're gonna have to relocate some people that live close to that, which is sad to have to do that, but they're pretty
Unless they're
understanding
really
about that.
excited about that opportunity to move.
Right.
But most up there have been there for quite a while.
Whether they are or aren't, it's not their choice.
It's gonna happen.
Nature's
Yeah.
making that for them, and it's,
Yep.
so your heart goes out to people like that. That's hard
Yeah.
to see sometimes. And
Right.
I was right-of-way agent, I used to work on the acquisition side of things, and most people were pretty good, because you go out and explain to them what the project is, and, you're making this offer for their property, and in most cases, you're improving the road, so it's like, yeah, okay.
Sure.
Other people, of course, they think, well,
If I
the
hold
county, I want more money, and
Yeah.
I try to explain to them, we have to be good stewards of the county funds, these are
Yep.
public tax dollars, and we can bend a little bit, but we pretty much
Yeah.
have to go by what it's valued at. It's tough sometimes.
Well, we
like that,
appreciate
but-
you making that comment because it is what we contribute.
It really
Yeah.
is. It's,
It is.
yeah, and I've been pleasantly surprised. I shouldn't maybe say surprised, but it's really been a pleasure to discover how many people are as committed as they are at Public Works. There's a lot of people that are going above and beyond and putting in more than their 40 hours worth.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
It's nice to see.
yeah. Well, we appreciate that so
Absolutely, we
much.
do. Absolutely.
Are we,
Yeah, it's about time,
Okay.
Brenda.
all right?
Well, first of all, this was great. I learned stuff today.
Good.
Yeah, so I get my gold star for the day. This was very interesting because I do follow natural disasters and, my family thinks I'm a little weird, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. Phil, you get excited about it. Well, I'm not excited that they're happening, but I'm excited about how they get taken care of. And, we have a lot of natural disasters in this area, the tendencies.
We do, and we
Yeah.
have some potentials for some very large ones.
Right.
I've worked with some drills with emergency management on the Cascadia, and that's pretty scary. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
people need to understand, you probably won't be able to cross a bridge for
No.
a week in our area. It's
Yeah,
not so much
that's
the
why you
bridges
need to be
themselves will
prepared.
fine, the
Right.
approaches are gonna be a
Yeah.
Right.
mess.
Yeah, I taught 72-hour disaster preparedness forever, it seems like. And here we are sitting in the sun coming in our back, today.
Mhm.
But what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day? So it's really important in my eyes that people in Cowles County are prepared for that. Because, the first responders are going to be busy with the emergency. It could be 2 or 3 days that you have to be in your house on your own, minimum.
As much as you're interested in that, just a guest suggestion in the future, Ernie Schnabler, who's the Director for Emergency Management for Cowles County.
That'd be a good one.
He'd be right up your alley because he knows so much about preparedness.
Well, see, I was a
what kind of
PIO of Red
disasters.
Cross when the disasters happened. I was actually in not the comm center, but the room.
The EOC.
I was in the
Emergency
EOC for the Red Cross. It was eye-opening. It was really eye-opening.
Yeah, the first time that big December 15th thing, I hadn't been the communications person for even, 6 months? And
Right, it
then I was
happened.
in there in the midst of all this, and I came in mostly in a role as a PIO, but we needed to kind of coordinate between Public Works and other agencies, so I ended up being more of a liaison for that event.
Well, and it's interesting being in there, watching the different agencies work together. It's just very
It's
interesting.
crucial. Interesting, because if we have him on, I'd like to ask him about just the infrastructure that we're talking about on 15th and Oregon Way by the bridge, so that's good topic, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got,
Yeah, you
I
want
could
to
get
comment
Claude
on
or
it?
something in that one.
Yeah, I'm
That
curious.
frustrates me sometimes because people go, oh, that's only because of Millennium.
No.
When I was active with the chamber in the late 80s, early 90s, we were getting presentations on that, and it goes
Yeah.
back into the 60s. They've been trying to improve that intersection.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of people, the number one frustration I hear is, well, that's silly to do that until you put a second bridge across. The funding's not going to be be there for another
I know.
20 or
I
25
was
years,
gonna
and that
say,
intersection
yeah.
has to be fixed. So
Yeah.
we're not going to be.
Well, I
able to
live
do
on the
that.
Oregon Way. It's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. It's my reality
We might have to
TV.
have you back.
We are going to have, we should have you
Because you
back.
were really interesting.
How about November?
Yeah.
Check your calendar, get back
Maybe I
to
can
us.
get Claude here. He's the project
Do
person.
we have another
Yeah.
song or what we got going on
No,
there?
I just have a couple of
This has been
announcements to
songs?
make. No more songs,
This
but I
has
do
been
have
awesome.
one other thing at the end. That's great. Okay, so just an announcement, a couple announcements. One of the things I'd like to say is next week,
Next
May
week.
13th through the 19th, is Police Week.
Yes.
So I would encourage everybody, Kelso, Longview,
County.
Castle Rock, Toutle, Kalama,
Woodland.
do the right thing. Thank your police officers. It's Police Week. Take them some cookies into their offices. Wave at them, give them a hug, but it's Police Week, and please show your appreciation to them. So
Absolutely.
in Longview, I appreciate you, Jim Dusha,
Yep.
Chief, and
Yep.
all law enforcement. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I'd also like to say that next week on the show is going to be Deanna Dreyer
I
and
might
Mike
retire from the show.
and Mike Bosson, who is Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow, it's going to be a
Yeah.
fun time.
And
It's,
he is. He's going to be
Captain
fun.
Jack will be here.
Yeah, he spoke at Rick Piper's memorial service a few months ago, and he was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I'd also like to read, because I have the glasses, unless you want to borrow my glasses.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Shout out, shout out, shout out.
Shout outs. Okay, these are the people that have watched, are watching. Do I just say their first names?
They can say the whole
Okay,
name.
Rachel, Danny German. Okay, hello.
That's what.
Here.
Yeah, the people. Very
Right about
nice.
the guess.
Nice slide on that one.
MB Fountain,
Yep, MB, how you doing?
Bonnie Jeffries looks like.
Hi, Bonnie.
Stephanie, don't see last name. Linda Gibson Smith.
Yep, I know
Oh,
Linda.
from Victoria.
Yeah, from
I
Victoria.
have Lions friends up
We
there.
are worldwide, baby.
Susan Williams from England.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Talus
Yep.
from Kenya.
Yep.
Wow.
We're
Robin Davis.
Hey,
Connie
Robin.
Chitwood Sneed. I wonder where that name came from.
Yeah, huh,
Rita
right?
Foster.
Hey,
Candy. I'm not sure what
Kane.
letter that is. Kane?
Yep.
Candy Kane.
hi,
Oh,
Candy.
wow.
We're coming to Seattle, baby, in October.
There you
We're
go.
coming.
Debbie Fall Hatter.
Yep.
Alyssa Lauren.
Right, let's
Any relation to Arnie Lauren?
I have no idea.
No idea. Steve Lloyd.
Steve Lloyd is acting. Remember in KGW, Steve Lloyd?
Yeah.
That is the same person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Doug Knapp.
Yep. Doug
Cheryl
Knapp.
Ernst.
Hi, Sherry. Yep.
Don Bacombe.
Sure.
Works.
Hey, you know who you
Right.
are. Hey, Rick.
Connie Disher
Hey.
and Penny Gilbert Baker.
Hi, Penny.
Oh, Penny Gilbert,
Coming-
1980, Mark
1980
Morris,
Mark
graduated
Morris.
with Bill.
Actually, I'm going to be seeing Penny
Youngster.
on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
I actually have a date. She actually said yes. That was surprising.
What?
Anyway,
Date.
we're
Okay.
not getting into that subject at all. Absolutely not. Anyway, Mark, appreciate it. You're awesome. We're gonna have you back. Keep watching, keep making comments. Again, I'm sorry for what I did, but I'll try not to do it again, but you never know.
Yeah, we have some great future guests.
We got some great future guests. We got some great shows, and without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So,
right.
again, thank you, Kalei, for being
you're
here.
welcome.
It was great for me just to kind of sit back and watch. I loved it. It was
you're
awesome.
welcome.
It was awesome.
You're
Very
welcome.
prepared.
Yeah, I know. She came in with notes. I'm like, God dang. Anyway.
I would like to read something that
Okay.
I think is, and I actually took this off of Mark's Facebook page because I have loved it for many, many years. And so I thought I would read it.
Yeah.
20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. By Mark Twain. So thank you for sharing that on your Facebook page.
That's
It
on
really
my
meant a
wall.
lot. Is it?
Yeah. that's
And
my-
thank you guys for watching. Keep watching. Keep making comments. If you're local, come see us. Come down here. We like crowds and stuff. Anyway, till next time. Have a great night or day. Bye.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing.
You were awesome, dear.